Louis was perplexed by the scene unfolding before him. Finn, standing nervously behind him, whispered that there were more of these men lurking about. As the men approached the children, their demeanor appeared hostile. Khan voiced his query about their humanity, only to be met with Canny's observation that humans don't possess glowing red eyes. Louis fixed his gaze on the figure before him, deducing that he must be the Winter General, the tale of the valiant King Valentia, who had once rescued the world from crisis, played in his mind before the webtoon story commenced. Even in death, it was rumored that King Valentia remained tirelessly dedicated. This icy tomb, rumored to be the haunt of the legendary hero king, was now the stage for the appearance of this enigmatic general. Upon realization, Louis discerned that the hero's tomb lay far from his abode. His apprehension grew as he realized the possibility of finding the item he had seen in the webtoon within this very place. While pondering this, Finn's warning jolted him into action. The armored men surged forward aggressively. Louis swiftly summoned Canny and Khan, instructing them to dispatch the assailants. Without hesitation, the twins charged into battle, swords drawn. Khan, displaying remarkable bravery, leaped at one of the assailants, his blade crackling with lightning as he declared his intent to lead the charge. Locking eyes with his opponent, he struck with precision, only to find his blow deflected by the man's sturdy defense. Yet, fortune favored Khan as his relentless assault shattered the man's shield, leaving him vulnerable. Khan descended to the ground after cleaving the man in twain, and the armored figure shimmered brightly before erupting in a burst of light. Canny's disappointment was palpable. She had aimed to secure the initial kill. Voicing her frustration, she swiftly pivoted as a sense of presence approached. Without a word, she lunged at the incoming foe, her blade cutting through the air with lethal precision. The adversary met the same explosive fate as Khan's prior victim. Canny grinned triumphantly, while Louis nodded in affirmation, acknowledging their exceptional skill. The twins pressed on, their valor evident, prompting Louis to declare that they were not merely toying around. He concluded that their prowess rivaled that of a seasoned second-tier samurai. He no longer minds the twins accompanying him. In a bid to hasten the proceedings, he harnesses his time manipulation abilities, invoking a temporal slow-down skill upon their adversaries. Clad in armor, the men find themselves constrained by a lethargic pace, their swordplay hindered. The twins swiftly discern the enchantment upon their weapons, realizing Louis had imbued them with temporal crystals. This revelation fuels Khan's determination, spurring him and his sister Canny into a relentless charge against their foes. Though the men attempt to retaliate with their weapons, they struggle to maintain control. With a gleeful laugh, Canny dispatches one man with her dual swords, relishing each victorious strike. Meanwhile, Khan seamlessly cuts through the enemies, their simultaneous demise resulting in explosive finales akin to popping popcorn. Khan's elation at witnessing their adversaries burst into fragments knows no bounds. The twins exhibited formidable prowess as they charged together towards the lone adversary. The man trembled, realizing his inability to retaliate. Without hesitation, the twins delivered decisive blows, proclaiming him their final foe. As customary, the man erupted into a brilliant display before dissipating. The aftermath left the surroundings in disarray. Despite Khan's lingering desire for further combat, he felt disheartened by the repetitive nature of the battle, echoed by Canny's sentiment of boredom. Louis, however, commended their efforts and proposed a more exhilarating endeavor. "Why don't we pursue something truly enjoyable?" he suggested, piquing the twins' curiosity. While Louis savored a cup of tea graciously served by Finn, he marveled at her resourcefulness, grateful that Finn had all the necessary ingredients in her storeroom. Expressing his appreciation for the delicious tea, Louis received Finn's thanks in return. As he observed the twins gleefully dismantling traps nearby, Louis was pleased to see them enjoying themselves, and they in turn expressed their gratitude to him. Amidst the excitement, Louis promptly alerted Khan to the incoming arrows, allowing him to evade them skillfully. He also cautioned Canny about a blade approaching from the left, ensuring her safety. Just like Khan, she possessed the power to shatter the blade. In addition to these perilous traps, there stood a colossal boulder, yet the twins skillfully vanquished it in unison. With all hazards neutralized, they promptly relayed the news to Louis. Finn, marveling at the twins' efficiency, wasted no time tidying up, inquiring about their current location. Louis revealed they were within the hallowed confines of the Hero King's tomb. Finn was taken aback and inquired to confirm whether the tomb they had discovered was indeed the resting place of Hero King Valentia. Louis affirmed her suspicion, revealing that this location served as the final resting site for the revered Hero King. Describing it as a dungeon fraught with monsters and traps, he explained that these deterrents were crafted to repel any intruders seeking to disturb the king's peace. Upon overcoming these challenges and navigating the labyrinthine corridors, they would uncover the heart of the adventure and receive essential equipment for their journey. Louis likened it to a beginner's dungeon, expressing confidence that they were the first to stumble upon its treasures. With a sly chuckle at his cunning plan, Louis left the twins curious about his sudden change in demeanor as they prepared to proceed further into the depths, urging them to stay vigilant. After a brief journey, they found themselves in a dimly lit area. It was adorned with glistening crystals, captivating both the twins and Finn. Suddenly, a looming, grotesque monster appeared before them, prompting the twins to alert Louis immediately. Louis, unfazed, revealed that he was aware of its presence, having spotted it earlier. It was one of 10 formidable monsters, the final challenge in his dungeon. Fixing his gaze on a nearby door, he surmised that the treasure lay just beyond. With a nod, he signaled the twins to attack. Khan and Kenny unleashed their powers, impressing Louis with their fearlessness in the face of such formidable foes. Like dragons soaring to dominance, these youngsters displayed their prowess, ready to conquer all that lay beneath them. The twins glanced at Louis before the battle, acknowledging his expertise in navigating such environments. Recognizing Louis as their best resource for insight, they sought his guidance on swiftly defeating the final boss. With determination, the twins charged towards the looming monsters, who in turn prepared to retaliate. Each twin targeted a foe, inflicting swift and precise blows that elicited instant agony. Meanwhile, Louis unleashed a burst of his power, striking one of the enemies with precision. As one monster writhed in pain, it suddenly exploded into oblivion. While the twins engaged the final boss in close combat, Louis supplemented their efforts with strategic spellcasting. Finn watched in awe, surprised by the seamless coordination between the trio. In a remarkably short span of time, they vanquished the final boss, leaving the twins satisfied and Louis eager to claim their reward. Without delay, he hurried to the adjacent room to inspect their hard-earned spoils. He slowly turned the knob, and wisps of smoke billowed forth. Kenny and Kenny brimmed with excitement, eagerly anticipating Louis's unveiling of what lay beyond the door. With a gentle push, Louis swung the door open, revealing the shimmering silhouette of countless treasures. Speechless, they stood as their eyes beheld the riches before them. Khan wasted no time, rushing toward the gleaming hoard and plunging into the sea of gold coins. Kenny and Finn, equally astonished, struggled to comprehend the abundance laid out in front of them. Finn beckoned Louis over to inspect something she had found, but it seemed Louis was oblivious to her call, drawn instead to the figure of Hero King Valencia. Seated upon his throne, Valencia remained shrouded in crystal. Finn approached Louis, questioning whether the figure before them was indeed Hero King Valencia. Despite the passage of many years, he appeared unchanged, still alive. As Kaya glanced around, Louis's attention was drawn to something peculiar. Etched before them was a script Louis deemed to be an ancient language of winter. From its origins, beings of both light and darkness sprang forth, each embodying virtues and vices. Yet, as these primal forces intertwined, chaos unfurled. Amidst the tumult, a clear demarcation arose, dividing the realms of good and evil. Thus, the earth came into being, and from its soil, mortal beings emerged, born of both light and darkness. The celestial beings, self-styled as the exalted, remained oblivious to the world beneath, consumed by their eternal conflict. Their ceaseless struggle inflicted suffering upon all other beings. In response, those on earth, burdened by the strife, unsheathed their swords against both good and evil. The dragons led the procession, trailed by both humans and half-breeds. Following a prolonged conflict, the triumphant denizens of Earth dispersed across the four seasons continents. With the passage of time, thoughts of both God and malevolence faded, along with memories of the vigilant dragons. Yet, Hero King Valencia forewarned of the dragon's eventual return, along with the resurgence of good and evil. Entrusting the retelling of this tale to the later generations, Hero King Valencia designated Louis, the last to hear of the war, as the bearer of the story. Louis pondered the existence of a demonic conflict within the primordial universe. Simultaneously, he seethed with frustration at the delegation left by Hero King Valencia, though its significance eluded him in that moment. Before him lay a tome detailing the unorthodox exploits of Valencia, a prodigious mind who transcended human limitations. This compendium chronicled Valencia's achievements, positioning him as a pinnacle figure. As Louis grasped the weighty volume, recognizing its value over other artifacts, he couldn't ignore the allure of the gleaming gold nearby, opting to pocket a portion before departing. While singing, he reached for some nearby items, but to his dismay, the crystal shielding hero King Valencia began to fracture. Louis turned abruptly, startled by the sight of the immense crack in Valencia's protective barrier. The crystal erupted, yet thankfully, Louis emerged unscathed, though his nerves were on edge. With Valencia's weapon now striking the ground, he regained his freedom in essence. He awakened. As Valencia's eyes fluttered open, Louis felt a tremor of unease, realizing this twist was not part of the original tale. Pointing a stern finger at the ground, Valencia angrily admonished the children for encroaching on his domain. The twins, jittery in their first encounter with Valencia, listened as Louis revealed the old man's true identity, hero King Valencia. Louis emphasized Valencia's status as a Tier 0 warrior, making it clear they stood no chance against him. He suggested that they must transform into a dragon. But before they could do anything, hero King Valencia moved his huge sword and said that only death awaits those who are greedy. He lifts his sword and casts a powerful magic that scares Louis. He wanted to run, but then his legs were trembling, and he couldn't even move. He then concludes that it was the effect of a Tier 0. He turned his head around and saw the twins who were also scared, trembling in fear. This time, Louis becomes brave for the sake of his comrades. He was still holding the book, and he told himself he shouldn't die, especially because he already trained his ass off. He activated his magic power and absorbed it. He clenched his fist while Valencia at the same time swung his sword to Louis. Louis punched Valencia's attack while screaming that he wanted to live longer. Luckily, he managed to hit Valencia. He smiled as he thought his attack harmed the hero king. But unfortunately, Valencia cast another attack on him, and he saw it as death. This second attack coming from the old man is so powerful that it even destroys the ground where Louis is standing. When Valencia launched his attack, Louis covered his face with his hands since small particles of rocks flew to him. When Valencia's attack cooled off, Louis slowly opened his eyes, and he was surprised to see himself still alive. Finn then immediately hugged him since she really thought Louis died. Louis grabbed her away while thinking about how he remained alive. He looked at the ground and was shocked to see the distraction Valencia made. Tanny pointed above and told Louis to look at it. There was already a hole in the ceiling, and Louis was dumbfounded knowing that Valencia's blade could split the ceiling of a cave. Because of it, he got annoyed at Valencia, and he couldn't believe a single human could do this kind of huge destruction. As he stared at Valencia, he noticed that Valencia was holding his wrist. He then concludes that Valencia changed the direction of his slash at the last moment. At this point, Valencia seemed to be trying to stop himself from attacking. He suddenly dropped his sword, which confused Louis. Valencia communicates with Louis using telepathy. He said that he protected young dragons. Still, Louis was confused. Valencia pointed the way and told Louis that they must leave and be careful along the way. What did you just say? Louis asked. Unfortunately, the tomb started to collapse. Finn then told Louis that they must leave, and Louis at first was hesitant because of what Valencia said. But then, Valencia suddenly dissipates and Louis wants to stop him from leaving, but he knows there's no way to do it. The wall behind him collapses, and he sees the twins cry in fear. Louis grits his teeth, telling himself that it isn't the time to think about what Valencia said to him. He immediately transformed into a dragon and told the twins to get up. The twins then transform and they leave the tomb together. At the same time, Finn was holding Louis' horn since Louis flew faster than her. A huge ice crystal was heading their way, but Louis immediately cast magic and attacked the ice using his reality split. The huge ice crystal shattered to pieces, and the kids successfully avoided it. They then saw an open wall and directly headed to it. Louis was screaming, and they all exited the tomb. Outside was still covered with ice. The snow in the middle suddenly moved and burst. It turned out that it was the kids who successfully exited the tomb. Louis was since he panicked, thinking that he almost died. This time, he thinks about the situation again. He was sure that Valencia was aiming to kill them, but he suddenly stopped himself. Otherwise, they were all dead. Louis wondered why Valencia did it if he also said that he would deal with the intruders. Besides, there were words Valencia said before he disappeared. It's just that Louis couldn't understand it clearly. But the most important thing for him now is they all survived. Plus, he got what he really wanted, which is the book. Finn suddenly called him and told him that twins were having a hard time. The twins are still scared, and they are both weak because of what just happened. Louis then tells them to follow to find a place to rest. They just went to the area nearby and transformed into their human form. Louis lay on the snow, and he felt relieved that they survived. He was about to close his eyes, but then he heard the twins crying. Khan and Kenny cried out loud, and Louis understood how they felt and believed that both were just way more shocked since they were too young. He approached them by giving them a pill and told them to take one each to boost up their mana. The twins listened to him, and Louis also took one of the pills since he almost ran out of mana, especially since he never pushed himself so hard since he was reincarnated. He then laid down on the snow once again, and the twins also went to him together. The twins lay down beside Louis and sleep. Finn was staring at the kids and wished them to sleep better. While the kids were sleeping in the snow, Finn was just guarding them to make sure the kids were safe in the middle of the night. The next day, the twins gained their energy back and even ran in the snow while laughing and playing around, shooting each other with snowballs. Louis at the same noticed that these two didn't feel bored with the snow. Finn also said that the twins still have the energy despite what they have been through. Louis smiled as he agreed with Finn. After a few minutes of walking, Louis realizes that they might have reached a deserted area since he can't even find a house, let alone a village. He was also confused as to why they didn't encounter any monsters the whole way down, even though there are monsters in the winter continent. As per Finn, the winter continent is home to more monsters than any other continent, and because of the cold climate, there's always a shortage of food. There have been tons of stories of monsters hunting humans for food. After explaining, Louis asked the same thing why they didn't encounter monsters, and Finn replied that it may be because Louis was here. Also, there are a total of 3 dragons hanging around, so she believes no monster is big enough to dare approach them. Louis then concludes that there's no need to hide their aura for now. While they were talking, Khan called Louis. Khan pointed nearby as he saw a cloud of smoke. All of them then immediately ran, headed to the smoke, hoping that they could see someone who could help them. But unfortunately, Louis was dumbfounded since they ended up seeing a small village burning. Finn deduces that this village must have been attacked. She asked Louis about what they should do, and Louis decided to go down to the village, hoping that they could see survivors. As they went down, they saw corpses of humans and even monsters. Louis continuously walks alone since they split up their way, and he concludes that it must be a monster attack. Finn then came to him, and Louis asked her if she found anything. But then, Finn shook her head and said that she didn't think there were any survivors. Khan and Kenny also came back to him and reported that they also didn't see anyone alive. The twins looked so tired, and they saw they were now hungry. Louis then threw them a pill and told them that they must get out of this village. But then, before they could leave, Louis heard someone approaching. As he checked it, he saw a man riding in a cavalry together with Louis. Immediately grabbed the kids despite the fact that they were still eating. He ran as fast as he could and immediately hid. The twins then asked him why they were hiding, and Khan thought that it was because Louis was afraid of humans again. Louis then answered that he was not afraid of humans. It's just that his deadly situations can mix up with random events. But then, the twins didn't understand what he meant to say. Since the men were approaching, Louis told them to remain quiet and hide their aura. He wished that these men would go through since he didn't want them to caught. Another guard came to give a report to their head. This guard reported that this village must have been attacked by monsters, and there don't seem to be survivors. The coachman then replied that he would report it to the Archduke himself. He went down from his horse and went to the carriage behind him. He called the Archduke, but before he could give a report, someone said that she had been informed and would go down to see for herself. The coachman opened the door of the carriage, and the Archduke of Canberk then came out. "Do you really need to see it for yourself, especially considering the situation?" The Archduke said, "I am the Archduke's wife, and if people have been harmed in my lands, it's my duty as mistress to comfort their souls." His wife replied. The Archduke then permitted his wife and the lady then get off from the carriage and held hands with her husband. As she looked at the surroundings, she witnessed lots of corpses. There was even a mother and a helpless son. Upon seeing the dead, the lady felt dizzy. Her husband was worried for her and told her to just go inside the carriage and rest. "Are you going to make me feel unforgettable?" the lady asked. The Archduke sighed and said that he couldn't still win against his wife's stubbornness after 10 years of being together. The lady smiled at him and said that the one who loves more usually loses. She then looked at the coachman and asked once again if there were really no survivors. The coachman said no, and according to him, this time of year, monsters are usually less active. But for some reason, they started going on a rampage yesterday. He also concludes that the monsters were being chased by a superior. The Archduke felt sorry for what happened. He was trembling and blamed himself, believing that this incident might not have happened if he hadn't mobilized the village. His wife then told him not to be hard on himself since she believed it wasn't his fault. While they were discussing, Louis overheard them, and he was shocked as he concluded that the village faced a horrible incident because of them. He feels guilty and his conscience is being pierced. While they were hiding, one of the twins burped and was heard by the humans. Louis panicked and the coachman then ordered them to reveal themselves. Louis was annoyed as it seemed like this story turned out to be a motivational story about parenting.